When my dad died, my mom told me, "You're the man of the house now." She handed me $27,000 of credit card debt, all from her shopping addiction. "It's in your name," she said. "Take care of it." I didn't. I declared bankruptcy, moved states, started fresh. She sent me messages for months. I blocked her. She called my new boss. He asked, "Is that the one who used your identity?" I said, "Yeah. That chapter's closed. My name's Nate." I'm 27 now, but this happened 5 years ago, right after my dad died. We lived in Columbus, Ohio. Normal 3-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood. My dad worked for the city as a utility supervisor. He wasn't rich, but we always had enough. He was the type who never upgraded anything. He wore the same windbreaker for 10 years and still had a flip phone in 2019. He died in the garage one cold October morning. Heart attack. My mom was in the kitchen, and I was upstairs working on a class project. I only knew something was wrong because the dog wouldn't stop barking. By the time I got outside, he was already cold. I called 911, but I knew it was too late. He was 56. We buried him the following week. The funeral was plain, no bells and whistles, just like he would have wanted. Mom wore a black dress she hadn't touched in years. She looked numb. Didn't cry much, just stared through people like they were ghosts. After the burial, things got weird. The house got quiet, but not peaceful. My mom stayed in her room most days. She didn't cook, didn't talk. At night, I'd hear her on the phone with someone, usually whispering. Other times, I'd see delivery boxes at the door. More than usual. QVC, Amazon, Macy's. Sometimes 3 or 4 in a day. At first, I thought it was just grief shopping. I didn't say anything. I figured she'd process it in her own way. Then, 3 days after the funeral, she came to me with an envelope. I was sitting at the kitchen table, trying to fill out FAFSA forms and figure out if I could afford my last semester at Ohio State without Dad's help. She dropped the envelope right in front of me. "You're the man of the house now," she said, real calm. She said it like she was passing me some noble legacy. I thought maybe it was some insurance paperwork or Dad's will. It wasn't. Inside were 7 credit card statements. All maxed out. Total balance, $27,406.33. I laughed. I actually laughed because I thought it was a joke. Then I saw the name on the accounts. Mine. Every single one. I looked up at her. "What is this?" She didn't even flinch. "It's in your name. You'll take care of it now." My throat went dry. "What are you talking about?" "I didn't open any of these." She just shrugged. "We needed to survive. Your dad couldn't get more credit. So we used yours." That "we" hit me like a punch. "We?" I asked. She blinked. "Your dad and I." He knew. We were doing what we had to do. I don't know what I expected to feel. Rage? Panic? Instead, I just felt cold. My mind went blank. "Did you forge my name?" She looked at me like I was the crazy one. "You're overreacting. You'll pay it off eventually." I didn't answer her. I went in my room, closed the door, and sat on the edge of my bed for what felt like hours. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat there, staring at the wall. At some point, I checked my credit report online. Everything she said was true. The accounts were mine. Opened in my name. All without my knowledge. That's when it hit me. She didn't just use my name. She stole it. Next morning, I packed my duffel bag. Just a few clothes, my laptop, and $760 I had left from a student loan refund. I didn't say goodbye. Didn't leave a note. I walked 3 blocks, got on a bus to the Greyhound station, and bought a one-way ticket to Flagstaff, Arizona. I'd never been to Flagstaff. I just wanted to disappear. It sounded far enough, quiet enough. That bus ride was 32 hours long. When I got there, I found the cheapest hostel I could and paid for 2 weeks. Then I started walking around town looking for jobs. After 3 days, A diner called Raven's Table hired me as a dishwasher. They didn't ask many questions. I liked that. I spent the next few months working 10-hour shifts, living in a small shared room, and saving every dollar. I bought a used bike for $50 and rode to work every day. Then I filed for bankruptcy. I walked into a local attorney's office with a file full of statements and told the guy everything. He didn't say much, just nodded and asked for my ID. "Did you open these cards yourself?" he asked. "No," I said. "Do you want to press charges?" That's when it got real. I told him no. It wasn't because I forgave her. I didn't. I just didn't want the mess. I wanted out. I wanted silence. He nodded again and started the paperwork. The bankruptcy went through. My credit was dead. I was free. But then the messages started. Texts, emails, voicemails. Some were angry. Some were manipulative. "How could you do this to me? You're abandoning me just like your father did. Your dad would be disgusted with you. You think you're better than your family?" I didn't respond. I blocked her. She found my work number. The first time she called the diner, I didn't know it was her. I answered the phone. "Is this Nathan?" she asked. My stomach dropped. I hung up. Next day, my manager Jim pulled me aside. "Your mom's been calling, asking about money. Something about you stealing from her." I felt sick. "That's the one who used my identity," I told him. Jim paused for a moment. "That chapter closed?" "Yeah," I said. "It's closed." "Good," he said. "You're a good worker. Don't worry about it. If she calls again, I'll take care of it." She kept trying for a few more months. Emails. More cards in the mail. Always cheerful photos of her smiling in a new outfit or at a beach somewhere. Never an apology. She still sends those cards. I still don't answer. About a year after I settled into Flagstaff, I started feeling normal again. I was sharing a small one-bedroom apartment with a guy named Victor who worked construction. He didn't ask questions, and I didn't offer much. We split rent, kept to ourselves, and it worked. I'd started taking night classes at the community college. Nothing serious yet, just business basics, something to move forward. I figured I'd slowly rebuild. Then one night in November, I got an email from a law firm in Columbus. It was titled Notice of Intent to Pursue Legal Action. At first, I thought it was spam. But when I opened it, I froze. The letter claimed I owed $6,000 on a joint credit account with my mom. I was listed as a co-applicant, and now that she'd stopped paying, the collections agency was coming for me. But I had never opened any joint account with her. Not before the move. Not ever. I called the number in the email, asked for a copy of the original agreement. When they sent it, my stomach dropped again. There was my name, my social security number, my forged signature. Again. Same handwriting as before. I didn't even get mad this time. Just cold. Like ice in my chest. She had done it again. I thought about going to the police. I thought about calling the attorney from the bankruptcy. But then I had a different thought. I remembered that old email password she used to make me set up for her. The one she never changed. I logged into it. And there it all was. Dozens of email confirmations from stores, banks, shopping apps. Some in my name. Some in hers. But a pattern. She'd kept using my info even after I'd left. Opened more accounts under variations of my name N. Right, Nate W. Even added a middle name I didn't have. She had created a fake identity using me. But here's the twist. In one email, she accidentally forwarded herself a PDF labeled Medical SSDI Eval Notes and write PDF. I opened it. It was a scan of a mental health evaluation, dated 5 months after I left. It had my name on it, but it wasn't about me. She had used my name to apply for disability benefits. Psychological ones. Claimed she was suffering from debilitating anxiety and dissociation. She said she couldn't work because her son abandoned her and left her destitute. She was trying to get disability checks under my name. And I knew then I had a choice. I could go to the police, bring everything, press charges, or I could ruin her in a different way. I started collecting everything: screenshots, copies, email trails, shipping confirmations, credit statements, that fake medical form. Then I contacted the Social Security fraud line. I didn't say who I was. I just sent them the files. A month later, I got a letter at my apartment in Flagstaff. It was addressed to Nathan W., but it wasn't from any friend or relative. It was from the Office of the Inspector General. They were investigating a claim of identity theft and benefits fraud tied to an applicant from Columbus. They thanked me for the anonymous tip. I didn't respond. A week later, I got another email from my mom. Subject line: "What did you do?" I didn't open it. 3 days after that last email, I got a call from an Ohio area code. I let it ring out. Then another. Then a voicemail. It wasn't my mom. It was my aunt, her younger sister. We hadn't talked since the funeral. I barely remembered her voice. "Nate, I don't know what's going on between you and your mom, but she's in deep trouble. Federal agents came to her house today asking questions about identity theft and disability fraud. She's a mess. They're saying she used your name. She's freaking out. She thinks you turned her in." She paused, then added, "Did you?" I didn't call her back. Instead, I looked up an old friend from high school, Seth. He had gone into IT security and freelanced on the side. He owed me a favor from when I let him crash on my couch sophomore year after a bad breakup. I told him I needed help tracing an IP trail, fast and quiet. He didn't ask why. Within a day, Seth had access to more than I expected. He found activity under my name across multiple retail accounts, even some government forms, all originating from the same IP address, my mom's old Comcast router back in Columbus. Even worse? One of the applications for financial aid under my name had gone through. She'd been receiving Pell Grant funds for an online school, using my identity. She wasn't even going to school. She was using the refund money on herself. Clothes. Vacations. God knows what else. That wasn't just debt anymore. That was federal financial aid fraud. Seth looked shaken when he called me back. "You need to get ahead of this, Nate. If this blows up and your name's still on it, you could be dragged into it. They don't always believe my mom did it. You've got to protect yourself, officially." He was right. So I contacted a fraud defense attorney in Arizona and gave him the entire story. From the first envelope of bills to the fake disability claim to the education scam. Every detail. Every document. He listened quietly, took notes, then asked, "Are you ready to make a statement to federal investigators?" I nodded. 2 weeks later, I gave a sworn affidavit and handed over everything: emails, login IPs, text messages, even the Christmas cards. The lawyer made sure everything was clear. She acted alone. I'd blocked her. I had proof I'd left the state and had no knowledge of her actions afterward. The investigator was thorough. "You understand," he said, "that once this process starts, she could face real prison time. Fraud against the government is no joke." I said, "I know." He looked at me carefully. "She's your mother." I answered, "Not anymore." It took 7 months. 7 months of silence. I went to work, came home, studied. Every few weeks I got an update from my attorney. The government was moving forward. Slowly, carefully, but they had what they needed. They sent subpoenas, pulled internet records, talked to banks and schools. I never spoke to my mom. Not once. Then, one Thursday in early spring, I got a call from the same Ohio number. But this time, it wasn't a voicemail. It was the U.S. Attorney's Office. They were indicting her for felony charges: identity theft, fraud against the federal government, wire fraud, and falsifying disability claims. Each one carried prison time. They asked if I would testify. I said yes. I flew back to Ohio in May for the trial. My first time back since I left. She was there in the courtroom, sitting behind her lawyer, looking smaller than I remembered. She wore a blazer like she was trying to look professional. But her hair was thinner, and her hands shook. She didn't look at me. They read the charges out loud. Then they called me to the stand. I told everything. From the envelope she dropped in front of me, to the way she kept using my name, to the forged disability report. I showed them proof, emails, logins, timelines. I spoke clearly, calmly. She didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She just stared down at the table. When the defense tried to paint her as a grieving mother who had made mistakes while in mourning, I didn't flinch. She didn't break down after he died, I said. She broke long before that. She just hid it behind my name. The courtroom was quiet. The jury took 2 days to decide. Guilty. She was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison and ordered to repay the aid money and credit card companies. She broke down then, cried and screamed as they cuffed her and walked her out. I didn't watch her go. Later, outside, my aunt found me. She's still your mother, she said. No, I told her. She's just the woman who stole my life. I flew back to Flagstaff that night. Quiet. Empty. Not happy. Not really. But I wasn't carrying her debt anymore. I'd made mistakes too. I should have pressed charges sooner. Should have spoken up. Instead, I ran and let it rot until it nearly pulled me under. But in the end, I did what I had to do. She handed me debt. I handed her silence. And then I handed her justice.